Hello and welcome to the Poverty Franchise Podcast. My name is PJ, and today we are going to get right into the NBA today. I know it's been a while since I've done a full-length video. I have a few things I do want to discuss. I want to touch on the NBA lottery just a little bit, mainly just the Bulls odds. I know I'm wearing the wrong jersey or whatever. It's okay. Stay hydrated. We're drinking water. I want to talk about the coaches getting fired on very short leashes or some on very long leashes. But I want to lead with something that's just a bit closer, and I guess it will be the Ja Morant situation once again. So we all know Ja Morant, point guard of the Memphis Grizzlies, supremely talented, has had off-the-court issues all during last year, was suspended 8 games, and was caught on Instagram Live again waving a gun around. And I feel strongly to talk about this because of some of the things I've seen, right? I guess I'll start with the first thing. Should he be suspended? Yes. The employer obviously does not want you acting in this behavior. Your employer, the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies, do not want you acting in this way, and you repeatedly act this way. You have to get punished for it. And if Ja Morant was as talented as Dylan Brooks, he'd been cut. It wouldn't be an immediate suspension, be immediate waive. That's it. He'd been waived. Simple as that. He has the talent level of, Xavier Tillman or, Jake Layman, Luke Cornett. He'd been waived. But since he's a superstar of the league, he's already cost himself a lot of money. He didn't make the All-NBA team this year. You could think probably those 8 games were a big part of it. It's an eighth of the season damn near that you're missing. Could have made a case, could have put up some solid performances, maybe. The writers don't like those type of antics either. It's affecting the locker room. It's affecting the image of the league. The league, as right or wrong as you like to see it, the league has tried to cultivate an image of clean, marketed for kids, not like, I guess, a gangster thug, like whatever term you want to use. They've done a lot ever since the Malice at the Palace, really, to push the league to that other image, right? So Ja's going against the grain in a dangerous manner. And you can't do that. And some of the things I said, well, we shouldn't be in trouble, we have a Second Amendment, this and that. I want to get 2 things clear, and I'm about to just... Because like the one I've seen is picture Carson Wentz, with his shotgun after a turkey hunt, and then like side by side driving. What's the difference? Well, your main differences are the safety matters, and I want to get this clear. I'm actually very pro firearm. I worked at a gun store. That's why I didn't make that many videos, right? So it's kind of an intersection. I mean, like again, show clear, muzzle point in a safe direction. I don't see a problem with them, right? And the difference of brandishing a firearm in public, one at a strip club where alcohol is involved, very irresponsible, tightly packed public place, negligent discharge can easily wound and kill multiple people, even out of a small sum like a 380 like he had in that first one. And the second time, he pointed the firearm at his temple, at his own fucking head afterwards. And again, not a problem with me at all. Like, I don't have a problem with anyone. There are people who should not own firearms. Let's get that clear too, like criminals and stuff like that. But like if the NBA was suspending him for going to the range or practicing shooting at like a shooting range or something, or like a hunting trip, I'd have a problem with that, because then I'd be like, oh, why can he not? Even if it's in his contract, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, right? Or if he was like, I don't know, like privately advertising, like not bringing the league and like privately advertising like a firearms company or something, like that suspension would be kind of stupid to me. But this suspension is very well warranted. Not only is he branching, he's to impressionable young kids trying to act like a gangster when he's from Newberry, fucking South Carolina. He's showing unsafe firearm practices by not following the 4 rules of gun safety. Again, these things here, they're not toys. They're not things to look cool with. They are cool. They are fun, but you shouldn't be brandishing them in public. That's the simple fact of the matter, is that you shouldn't. And I hope he figures it out. I think the suspension should be long. I think it should be half the season or preferably the whole season. And my fact for that is, or my opinion on that is that that suspension will be the first time in his entire life where he'll be without basketball at at a structural level since like elementary school. So he'll have that year to either reflect, think, and change, or he'll sink. And one of the two has to happen because he can't sit in this purgatory. And I hope he doesn't sink. I truly hope he doesn't. But the only way to find out is if you remove basketball from his life. Will he completely spiral or will he figure it the fuck out? That's it. And the Grizzlies are going to be worse off for it. It's just hurting the whole Grizzlies plan, basically. You know, they were supposed to be contending with Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, John Morant, the role players around them, like Steven Adams, you know. Like, they're supposed to be contending. Brandon Clark, the dudes like that. But now he's messed with his team. He's made a black eye on the league. The second time he's done this, he's not changed. Again, now personally, I think the suspension will not be over 20 games. I think if Miles Bridges didn't get over a 20 game suspension for an actual crime, because I think it is to admit that John Morant did do a crime the first time and not the second time. He technically did a crime both times. The first time is much more provable than the second time, because I don't know if that car was in a driveway on his private property, and if he was in South Carolina or Tennessee, that's completely legal. You know, he wasn't brandishing it towards anyone, like he wasn't threatening anyone with it. Maybe legal. In the club in Colorado, absolutely fucking not. He has to get better friends, but hey, you know what? Fuck it. We'll see what happens. If he keeps spiraling, he keeps spiraling. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I hope he doesn't because he's a great talent to the league. He's a great entertainer, great basketball player. The league is better when he is on the court playing and not with these fucking antics. And we gotta remember he has a fucking daughter, and I kind of want him to raise his kid the right way and not have a dumbass father. But we'll leave it at that. We'll move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. That happened a couple days ago. Boston blows out the Sixers. Doc Rivers gets fired for it, basically. Joel Embiid and James Harden not rise to the occasion. It is of my opinion that James Harden is now the level of a high-level role player. I think the good games don't come around as often as they used to. So, yeah, he's not like a true co-star. In Embiid, the Celtics give Joe Mazzulla. Oh my, I butchered the fuck out of his name. Oh, I feel bad now. I feel pretty bad. Joe Mazzulla. Yeah, give credit to him. Give credit to Al Horford and Time Lord, and the whole Celtics defensive game plan to like really limit him. They did a good job with Embiid, and I'm really proud of. Like, I'm not proud of him, but I'm really impressed by that. Well, I don't think they'll have as much trouble with the Heat personally, but I think it was the natural end of Doc Rivers' time in Philadelphia. I don't necessarily think he should have been fired. I don't necessarily think it's his fault, but he made all these trades, he made all these moves, probably promised the front office and the ownership, this is what's going to get us to the finals, and they haven't gotten out of the second round. Thanks to, man, it's going to go back to the decision on keeping Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. I think if you keep Jimmy Butler on the team, you probably make a conference finals at least. Because that's bad luck. That Kawhi Leonard shot doesn't go in there in the conference finals. And hell, they might get to the finals that year. So, we will just have to see. And then the other coaches being fired. Monty Williams getting fired from the Suns. Budenholzer from the Bucks. And Nick Nurse from the Raptors. The Nick Nurse one makes a little bit of sense. The Raptors probably should have made the playoffs. But, I mean, you had a discontented Fred VanVleet. Siakam is plateaued in his development. Scotty Barnes, sometimes he looks like a superstar. Sometimes the development looks like it's going nowhere. But it's still trending positively. I think you keep Nick Nurse there and you kind of retool around him. I think there's a good... You argue, is there really that good of a coach? Or was it Kawhi Leonard, right? That's your argument with Nick Nurse. Um, Budenholzer, he was the 1 seed and they lost in 5 to the Heat. And I know it's only been 2 years, and it's only 2 years outside of a championship, but if I'm not mistaken, the year they won the championship, Budenholzer was on the hot seat. If Budenholzer didn't win that championship, he was going to get fired that year. Because, again, the progress was plateauing, and if they didn't win that championship, he might have gotten fired. That there was rumors around if he didn't win the finals, he was going to get fired. So, and that may have just bought him time from a management that already didn't really want him around and thinking, oh, okay, the success is mainly Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton bailing out the coaching rather than the coaching elevating them, right? But I think all of them should have jobs in the league in the next season or two. Personally speaking, I think the Monty Williams firing, I think you need a full season with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. And then again, the injury to Chris Paul, not his fault, but again, it's why you have an older roster. I think you need a full season. I'm not a fan of that firing. I think you gotta give coaches time in the league. You have to give them time, and you just gotta give them time. Again, like, you don't know if the grass is always greener after the firing, right? I mean, the Heat have kept Eric Spoelstra around. They missed the playoffs a few times with Eric Spoelstra. It's worked out pretty good for them. I can see. I know they just gave Quinn Snyder the Atlanta job, if I'm not mistaken. I can see Monty Williams is either going to end up on the Bucks or the Sixers. I think Budenholzer is going to go be an assistant like Quinn Snyder was, like a head assistant like Quinn Snyder was for the it wasn't the Lakers. Damn, I forgot what team Quinn Snyder was the assistant for. Give me 1 second. After his firing from the Jazz, which again was not his fault. He just did not know what the fuck to do with Rudy Gobert, and I don't fucking blame him, to be honest with you. Damn, I know he was an assistant somewhere because I remember seeing him on the sideline for a hot minute after he got fired. I don't know, was he just sitting around? He may have just been sitting around the house. But kind of like, I guess what Frank Vogel's doing now, what Tom Thibodeau was doing before he got his first head coaching gig. Mike Brown has done to just go be a head assistant for a while, maybe just take a year off and wait for another opening, because I think you'll have openings in places like New York. The leash might be running out for Tom Thibodeau. Minnesota might open up. Greg Popovich is getting older every year. Dwayne Casey moved to the executive with the Pistons. I don't think they've made a decision quite yet at the Pistons head coach position, because I know Dwayne. Yeah, so the Pistons also have an open spot. So again, maybe like a Nick Nurse can go there. I don't think Dwayne Casey's gonna hire his fucking replacement though. But maybe someone's more open to a rebuild. Maybe again like Doc Rivers might be open. I don't know if he'll be that open to a rebuild. Maybe Budenholzer might be open to like a full rebuild, like when he took the Hawks job. That wasn't even a full rebuild really when he left the Spurs, but. And I can also see other coaches on shorter leashes. Tyronn Lue might be on a short leash next year. Steve Kerr may even be on a little bit of a leash. If the Nets go completely in the reverse, I can see Jack Vaughn getting moved out of there real quick. Billy Donovan of the Bulls. The Bulls' job may open up soon. So we'll have to see. I can also see J.B. Bickerstaff Jr. If Cleveland doesn't progress much, that could be a job that opens up after next season as well. Hornets' job is almost always open. I don't even know who the fuck Orlando and Washington's head coaches are. I think the Magic are not going to fire their coach because who's Washington's head coach? I don't know who. It's Wes Unseld Jr. Right? Yeah. I feel really stupid for not knowing that, especially this year. And yeah, maybe the Pacers' job opened up. Rick Carlisle just doesn't do much to inspire confidence. So we'll see. We will see. We will see. But really now, I guess I'll end the video. Not end the video. Predictions on the conference finals. Again, I think, as I said, I think Boston will have a bit easier of a time with Miami than Philadelphia. I'm not discounting Miami. I just think if they're able to shut down Embiid with that game plan, I think Bam Adebayo is the same plan could work with Bam. Bam has a bit more bounce in his step, but he also has less moves inside, and he has a worse shot. So you have to worry about Bam more for his motor, but Bam's confidence can also be sucked out of him completely, and he kind of becomes a non-factor on the floor. It's going to be up to JB, JB, Brogdon, Tatum, White, Smart, Grant Williams to just gang up on Jimmy Butler and to make sure you can get out to those shooters. Make sure Max Strus doesn't get hot, Gabe Vincent doesn't get hot. Caleb Martin, Cody Martin. Please be Cody. Oh fuck! Please be Cody. Please be Cody Martin. Please be the right Martin. Fuck, Caleb Martin. Sorry, Matt, I got that wrong. Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, Gabe Vincent. Make sure they don't get hot from outside. Maybe get Bam in foul trouble so they have to run small ball or an ungodly amount of minutes with Cody Zeller, which is over 1 minute. Denver LA series is a bit more interesting. You have big on big. AD again is the more versatile big. Jokic, more versatile in terms of defensive and offensive capability. Jokic more versatile offensively, of course. It's going to be up to the role players, mainly Michael Porter Jr., to either A, defer or B, hit his fucking shots. Same with Austin Reeves. Jared Vanderbilt is going to have a time, and LeBron are going to also have time on the defensive end, and the Nuggets are going to have an answer defensively for LeBron James. And oh my God, Anthony Davis. Aaron Gordon's going to have his hands full. You're going to see probably minutes from Jeff Green. I don't think you're going to see much DeAndre Jordan and Thomas Bryant in this series. Christian Braun is going to also come up off the bench and be a good defensive catalyst, same with KCP and Bruce Brown. So I predict Denver wins, and I predict they're both going to go. Miami, Boston going to go 6. Denver, LA is going to go 7. I'm going to give the edge to Denver and the edge to Boston. And then we'll talk about it when the finals happens. And then finally the NBA lottery. I truly hope the Bulls get a top. We have an 8% chance of a top 4 pick. It's not going to happen. I really want it to happen, but it won't happen. So, yeah, it's all the Victor stakes, and as one of my coworkers pointed out, there's been some talks of at least just harebrained rumors of the Warriors trading a whole lot to pretty much start the rebuild with Victor to get the number 1 overall pick. And of all the teams that are eligible, you're either going to have, as you have Portland wins, I can see them trading away Dame for more picks and starting the rebuild. If Dallas wins, they're not going to make a trade. They're just going to put Victor in that lineup immediately. But I guess the Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, Hornets are not going to make that trade. The Pacers won't make that trade either. And I think, of the biggest odds, of the Pistons, Rockets, Spurs, Hornets, Blazers, your top 5 odds, all of them can use him, right? Every single one of them. Portland probably gets sprung back into immediate contention if Victor stays healthy. If the Magic get him, the Magic are the interesting team because they have a backstock of bigs. They're going to play real big ball, right? You're going to have a front court of, you're going to have 2 6'10" guys, Paolo and Wendell Carter, big dudes, and then Victor at the 5. That's going to be a hard fucking lineup, especially because Paolo can put the ball on the floor, Victor can put the ball on the floor, Wendell is a consummate role, gets rebounds, defends the rim. He's really showed out after being traded from the Bulls, can hit shots when needed to. I liked when the Bulls picked him. And he had a great year, shot 35% from 3, 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, about 3 assists. And on 4 attempts a game, he finally found that 3-point shot that in Chicago just didn't really quite develop. And I guess it was that short leash on the shot, I think, right? They weren't going down. They didn't drop many plays for him because Jim fucking Boylan was making Lauri Markkanen just a stretch four. So that's why. Then you'll get a team like the Jazz, again. That's an immediate contender. Right, again, you can move someone like Walker Kessler as the sixth man, or you can do what they were doing with Lowry in Cleveland and play Lowry at the three, since, again, you can put the ball on the floor. In theory, he's horizontally agile. Defense is still iffy. But you can, have, like, huge lineups where you have Walker, Victor, and Lowry on the court. And then, like, running, like, Sexton at the point. You can do shit like that. I really want to talk about the lottery because I want the Bulls to win the lottery. I just want them to fucking win. I want them to win the fucking draft lottery. I really do, because I think if Victor comes to the Bulls, that'd be fucking great. But it would be fixed because the Blackhawks won the number one overall pick through hell or high water after Taves is retiring. I want to make sure I get his name right. I know I'm just going into hockey right now, so fuck off. I said fuck off. Yeah, Connor Bedard won the Connor Bedard lottery. If the Bulls get it fixed, thank you to the sports leagues for being complete dicks to the rest of y'all and fixing these drafts, but that'd be terrible. But that's all I have to say about the NBA and the Poverty Franchise podcast. My name is PJ, and I guess I want to do one more thing, one more disclaimer. If you're uncomfortable by the depiction of firearms, I am sorry. I didn't give any sort of warning or anything. It was kind of just out of the blue, ooh, sorry about that. I just wanted to show that, at least to me, I was coming from a place of, as someone who, supports, people owning firearms for self-protection, leisure, hunting, sport, whatever you say there, that John Morant's just doing it wrong. He's doing it entirely wrong. It's a terrible message, again, for his gun violence laden community of Memphis, for the state of South Carolina, for the black community, for all this and that. It's a terrible look, right? And I'd hold any player, no matter creed, skin color, religion, of any major league that was brandishing firearms in the same way as John Morant, to the same standard. I think they're fucking idiots. They probably should either not own a gun. They should not own a gun for the time being and be taken to a range. And if they're still interested for whatever reason, and they just didn't know better, which again you should, they should be, and they're still interested in defending themselves and stuff like that, or doing it the right way. And it's thoughtful. They should be taken to a range under proper supervision, learn the right ways, and learn how to respect these items, these tools. But that's all on the Poverty Franchise podcast. My name is PJ. I'm signing off.